YouTubers, and welcome to another action figure review. Today we're looking at the final figure in the first wave of DC Collectibles' new Batman Adventures and Batman the Animated Series figures, and the final figure is Catwoman from Batman the Animated Series, in particular Cat and the Claw Part 1, which was Catwoman's first appearance. And a bit of trivia, I believe that Cat and the Claw was the first episode to air in the United States, but over here in the UK, I think they released them in production order, like on the DVDs, so we got On Leather Wings first. At least, that's how I remember seeing them when they aired on Cartoon Network. So there we go. Okay, let's begin by taking a look at the packaging. Just like the other figures in the line, she comes on the standard blister card. This time we have the iconic image of Batman with a cloak up, silhouetted by the moonlight that we see on the end credits of each episode of Batman the Animated Series. It's really nice. I love the use of the dark red in contrast to the new Batman Adventures versions. At the bottom we have the Batman Animated Series logo, which never appeared in the series itself. To the side of that we have the number 4, telling us that this is the 4th figure in the line. And much like with Batman, this figure has been sculpted by Irene Matar. And on the back we have the same image of Batman, but this time with the colours reversed and the image flipped. So out of the packaging, Catwoman looks great. Let's have a look at the articulation. Very similar to the other figures. Catwoman's head is on a ball joint. She actually has far more manoeuvrability than any of the other figures. She can actually seem to lift her head ever so slightly more than the others, and even look down a little bit, so there's a bit more posability there. Her arms are ball jointed at the shoulders. You can hear that the joints are really stiff. Like I said in all the other reviews, you're probably sick of me saying it, but you know, boiling water and all that business to make sure that they don't snap and to just loosen them up. So the articulation, you can swivel the shoulders out to the side and they can swivel all around. Moving down to the elbows, they can pivot back and forth, and they're ball jointed, so they can. And there's a swivel joint, so they can. And they can swivel, and it's ball jointed, so they can move 360 degrees. And just like the other figures, her wrists can turn 360 degrees, and they also have swivel joints, so they can move up and down ever so slightly. There is no waist articulation, which I'm really pleased about because I think it would have damaged the look of the figure. And we move down to the crotch piece. We have articulation at the hips that move forward, and they can't really move back because of her backside, but they can move forward, and there is articulation so they can move out to the side, but again, very stiff. Not really sure if I want to, oh damn, see, I mean, now I can't get it back. Very, very difficult to move back and forth. Again, be wary of moving these joints. And then if we move down to the knees, back and forth, and she has swivel joints, 360 degrees at the top of her boots. And then down to the ankles. Her ankles are articulated so they can move back and forth. And they also are on pivot, so they can move side to side, like so, unlike any of the other figures so far. So now let's take a look at the detail. Not an awful lot going on with Catwoman, but there are some nice points. This head sculpt's really nice. They've really captured the look of the character in the sculpt. The front of the mask, we have that black portion, but the rest of the cowl is grey with the cat ears. There is some paint bleed on her face. You can see she's got a few black specks on her flesh just there, and on her lips. It's ever so slight. Sometimes you can't really notice it depending on the lighting, but obviously this is under really bright lights, so you can really pick it up. And for her mouth, we have these large red ruby lips, and there's just a slight line of white in the middle, just showing her teeth ever so slightly. Now looking at the eyes, this is where things get a bit funny for me. They're green with a white pupil, and we have the very thick black eyelashes. Now they look fine, but the problem here is with the sculpt beneath. Now if you look here, you can see that the sculpt protrudes ever so slightly, and it's the same on both sides. Now what I can't understand is, surely this black of her eyelashes should follow the sculpt here. I assume that's what they're meant to be. They're meant to be her eyelashes. So I'm not quite sure why they sit so low. You can see that it just looks like it could be up a bit further. Now, having looked at some of the prototype images, they look very similar to this, that you have these large pieces here, and then the eyelashes sort of sit beneath them. It seems very strange, and I think Catwoman's eyes look kind of far apart because of it. I think if they'd have painted the paint onto those sections, the eyes may have sat closer together and slightly higher. I mean, it doesn't ruin the figure by any means, but it's just something that strikes me as odd, and whenever I look at it, I can see these bits of sculpt on the top, and I just think, surely those should be black. So, I'm not sure. If anyone else's is different, then please let me know, but from what I've seen of other people's, they all seem to be the same. The detail on Catwoman's arms, well, they're just black from beneath the shoulder. There is a slight groove here to show that it is separate, so this is a glove, but there is no articulation there. Although you'd imagine that they'd have added some, but there isn't. Very simple, it's just moulded in a black plastic. Her hands, very nice, very slender, but there is no gold paint on the nails like she has in the cartoon, and I can only imagine that that's because of the very tiny scale. I'm not surprised that they didn't bother to go to all those great lengths to try and get all of the gold paint onto those each individual nails. And her belt, very simple, just the circles with the strip in the middle. That's painted a sort of ochre colour. The paint applications are a bit dodgy in places. You can see the yellow hasn't quite gone over the top. And it's here that the articulation kind of ruins the look. Where her bum sits here, you've then got these really nasty, sharp grooves and things, and then you've got the two little hinges underneath. So it does kind of take away from the look. It's not as bad on the front, but it doesn't look so good on the back. And just like the other figures, Catwoman has a variety of accessories, quite a few more than Mr. Freeze. She has the interchangeable hands, neutral hands, slightly more closed hands. They all have joints that pivot, but one thing to note is they are quite small, which seems quite problematic when you're trying to put them into Catwoman's wrists. It's quite a tight squeeze, you know, I'm sort of screwing it in a bit to make sure it doesn't just go in and snap, or when I pull it out it's going to snap. Again, like I did with all the other figures, I did use a very small screwdriver and just put it in the hole and just widened it ever so slightly, or you could sand down the pegs here. So they're much better now, but again, something to be wary of. Outside of the various hands, she also comes with a pearl necklace that she steals at the very start of the episode. So you have the ridges here meant to be like pearls, just painted in white, and then the diamonds, they're just painted in a flat blue colour with a sort of yellowish brown colour in between. She comes with her iconic whip, which flays off at the end into 4 separate parts. And there's not really an awful lot of detail here. You can see the handle has been sculpted slightly, so there are those little ridges and bumps and things. But otherwise, it's just a very thin piece of rubber. She also comes with her camera that she uses later in the first episode. This is very simple, just grey plastic. You can see they've painted on some rectangles, not so well on that side, a bit better on that side. But what bugs me to death with this is that although she can hold the camera, there is no way you can get her to actually put the camera up to her eyes. So you can't pose her taking a picture or anything like that. That really, really bugs me. There's no way you're going to be able to get her to hold it to her face like that, like she does in the cartoon, and actually take a picture with it. And probably my favourite accessory, she also comes with Isis the cat. A really nice sculpt. It actually does have articulation. The head can swivel around, so you can get some posability there. And all of the legs do have some articulation. It doesn't move too much, but, you know, it's better than nothing. It does look like the tail should move, but it doesn't seem to want to move, and I don't really want to try it because this is very, 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 very thin plastic, and, you know, I don't want to snap it off. Sadly, the paint apps on the eyes could be better. You can see that the yellow that they've used hasn't really covered the grey very well. There's a bit of bleed up there, a few specks and things, and this side just doesn't really look like it's covered well at all. But otherwise, it's a nice accessory, you know, they didn't have to do it. And I really like it. Funny eyes notwithstanding. I really like it. I think it's a nice, fun little accessory. It's great to have Catwoman with her cat. And just like all the others, Catwoman comes with her display stand. Again, clear plastic rod that can move up and down. It has the clasps at the front, and the rod can move back and forth. And just like the other figures, The base has the original turnaround art from the series, complete with animated series logos and the Batman logo at the top. And just like the others, we have the poster come checklist. So overall, I really like the figure, probably my favourite Catwoman figure that I own. There's a few bugbears with the weird paint going on her eyes and the annoying thing with the camera, but otherwise I really like it. She's got some great accessories, I like the pearls, I love the fact that she comes with Isis the cat. It's an iconic version of Catwoman, and it's great to have her in this 6-inch scale with the rest of the new Batman Adventures and animated series figures. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this review, and I hope you've enjoyed all of the reviews looking at this new line of figures. I will be reviewing the next wave, which should be out in March, at least according to Forbidden Planet. So thanks for watching, guys, and hopefully I'll see you all back for those reviews in March. Way, good start, Selena, you stupid cow.